Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar. We're gonna wait a few minutes to let people arrive and then we will start. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about a very hot topic, which is how AI is transforming IP practice. And we are very happy to have one of our best user, Andre. We will take the time to introduce him later during this presentation. And the format of this webinar is a fireside chat. So we'll have a conversation between FX, the DeepIP CEO, and Andre. And you'll get a chance to have the point of view of both an AI vendor and a law firm. So before we get started, just a reminder, this webinar will be recorded. Link will be sent to everyone who has registered, so automatically. So you can, of course, forward it to your team if they missed it. You have a question tab on your right-hand side, so feel free to ask your question anytime during the presentation, and we will have a dedicated time at the end of the session to answer them. And of course, if you want to get to know DeepIP a little bit more or follow our upcoming webinars, feel free to follow us on LinkedIn or visit deepip.ai. We usually stream a lot of webinars with law firms, and we do also product demos, so feel free to subscribe to make sure you don't miss them. So the panel today, we have Andre. I will let you, Andre, introduce yourself to the audience.
No, thanks, Thomas. Yeah, no, good. Welcome, everyone. Great to be here. Thomas and FX, thanks for the invitation to the DeepIP fireside over here. I'm excited to be here. I strongly suspect I may have been invited because you guys probably scanned the list of attorneys at our firm and found like the guy with the French name. And you guys being a French company, maybe you thought there'd be I might be a good person to speak to, but embarrassingly, being from South Africa, I speak Afrikaans and not a single word of French. But anyway, I'm sure we can get past that. Yeah, just by way of an introduction, I'm a principal here at SLW, or Schwegman Lundberg Woessner. We're rebranding around the SLW part of it. I head up our firm's Silicon Valley office. I've been practicing IP law for 32 years now, hard to believe. 29 of those have been in the US after originally practicing in South Africa for a short time. My practice is primarily in the software, electrical, and mechanical technologies. Yeah, so looking, I am an automation and innovation enthusiast. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you our views on AI and particularly how we, DeepIP's solution. FX, are you?
Thank you, Andre. I think automation and AI enthusiasm is an euphemism, and I'm super happy to share the stage with you, Andre, because we are starting to get to know each other quite well, and I've seen how fast you are at discovering product, assessing them, and actually putting them into production to transform the way you work and the way you work at the SLW. So I'm really happy to share the stage with you. Personally, I'm an entrepreneur for 15 years, and DeepIP is my fourth company. I have a very, very strong experience in building software, leveraging AI for the 7 past years. We have been developing AI products and data for AI products for very, very large clients, notably the DoD, Department of Defense here in the US, for instance. And we started building a product dedicated to the IP space, and more specifically to the drafting and the prosecution workflow. But we'll try to complete ourselves, André sharing a very deep experience on the IP and the prosecution, for the drafting, prosecution, and the entire patent workflow supporting its clients, and myself bringing a bit of experience on the software AI space.
Thank you both. So maybe Andre, you can say a few words about SLW for those who don't know.
Yeah, I'll keep this very brief. So we're an IP boutique. We don't do IP litigation, and that's by design. We're really focused on procurement and strategic portfolio management. I kind of like to view us as kind of this large collection of charming nerds and geeks who are working to protect some of the world's coolest technologies. We have over 100 practitioners in our Minneapolis office, our Silicon Valley office where I'm at, and also a number of we work kind of remotely from different offices throughout the US. You'll note that we file over 6,500 US and PCT patent applications every year. Most of those, or a good chunk of them, are originally drafted applications. So we're probably one of the largest drafting firms in the US, if not the world, in fact. Bottom line is we draft a lot of patent applications, and are fortunate enough to work with some of the great Fortune 500 companies, but also very early stage companies as well. We kind of span that gambit. I joined this firm 20 years ago, and I was really joined not only by the great, was attracted and drawn to the firm, not only by the great people, but also really the culture of innovation at the firm over here. Schwegman was one of the early developers of web-based digital patent file and docketing systems, and we've always been highly automated. And I think kind of continuing in that tradition, we're continuing. We've engaged now in the deployment of a suite of AI tools, of which DeepIP is an important one, and the one that is really focused on the drafting of applications and responses. So excited to share our experience about that. Yep, and I think the next slide. I'm not going to go through all of that. That's just our domains of expertise. You can quickly read that and ingest it. I've kind of dealt with most of that, but just to point out, I think we are finding very interesting uses for AI also in freedom to operate, post grant opinions and all sorts of other practice areas as well. FX, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, André. And so at DeepIP, we focus very much in building what we call your trusted AI assistant for assisting on the preparation of the drafting, on the actual drafting process, on the prosecution part. So basically supporting the response to office actions. And all of this is fully integrated within Word, because this is where you spend your time, and it's critical to limit the level of friction you might have. And so the idea is to have an assistant being like your second brain, saving significant amount of time in the different steps of from drafting to the office action. And what are the benefits our users usually share are time saving, so between 20 to 40, sometimes even 50% on the simplest application for some specific domains. But also being able to reinvest a part of this time, a significant part of this time, into the quality of the work they do. getting more time to produce a better patent, being able to be more focused on the work they have to do, because having a second brain helps lower a bit the heavy workload, and assist on reducing the risk of error, detecting inconsistencies, and in final delivering a better work to your clients. The solution is obviously by design developed for offering the highest level of security. We know that patent data, invention data is extremely critical for your clients or you as a firm. And so we have the highest standard of security, being ISO 27001 and SOC 2 Type 2, which are what you can get from a SaaS application. And by design as well, we have confidentiality of your data at the very core of our solution, retaining no data post-processing, reusing no data for retraining purposes, encrypting the data everywhere, storing the data where you need it. So our US clients have their data in the US so that it's compliant with your regulation, export control, and similarly in Europe. And there is a segregation level management, physical and logical, to make sure that whatever happens, your client data is safe. And we are super happy to work with SLW, something like 50 large law firms in the US, and obviously a few other firms in Europe as well. And we are happy to be here today to share a bit what we learned working with them. And so to start the discussion with you, André, let's start with the broader space, and so understanding a bit the way you see AI changing the IP landscape, changing specifically the way large firms like SLW work to deliver value to their clients.
Yeah, no. FX, I mean, the way we're looking at it and the way we're kind of exploring it is really, you know, when you ask like what is going to be the impact or what part of our practice is it impacting, I'd basically say every aspect in every way kind of imaginable. You know, back office, we're exploring and actually using AI to automate some routine operations. One area we're particularly excited about now is, you know, budget projections for our clients. It's a big pain point for a lot of clients. Is like, well, you know, what's the spend going to be, and really using AI to do that, I think, is an area we're actively looking at. Another area is also portfolio management and patent strategy. You know, really deploying AI to assist with strategic decisions related to the patent portfolio. So, you know, answering questions like, you know, which cases to approve, which cases to prune. You know, patent portfolio hygiene is an important thing, and you don't want to be spending money on patent applications that have less value. And AI can actually have some pretty interesting applications over there. You know, which tech areas, you know, should our clients focus on? You know, where to file? All of those decisions, we're finding AI can be a you know, very helpful input. Portfolio analytics, a big area, and there are a number of companies doing work in that. For FTO work, freedom to operate, evidence of use, standard essential patent mapping for patents. We're finding uses, you know, for AI in all of those areas as well. And you know, particularly we're also excited about you know, particularly the claim charting. I think you guys are working on potentially some solution over there as well, but I don't want to let any cats out of the bag. And then, of course, you know, for us, you know, we're being an IP boutique focused on patent procurement, drafting, and prosecution. Obviously, AI is, you know, is having a tremendous impact over there, and I think changing the way we work. Yeah.
Andre, you are leaking our product roadmap.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking. Super interesting. And so, if we think a bit at the level of the attorney, so the AI machine collaboration, so the attorney AI collaboration, how do you see the work of the attorney evolving? Where do you see AI having a dramatic impact on some part of the work, and where do you believe it will have no impact because things are human intelligence is so critical that there is no way to rely on an AI for these things?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a higher level for general firms, I think we're really seeing where the big change is going to be, and where we are seeing it at Schwegman is that the AI is kind of consuming the lower level entry work, or the work that was more laborious or routine, clearly, examples might be like legal research or summarization of large documents or volumes of documents, and something that we may previously have had a law clerk or junior attorney do is actually well done and easily done by AI. So what we really see changing here is and the big challenge, and we're working on trying to crack the nut of is training. And I think there are tremendous opportunities and also challenges as to how do we train our young people coming up. And the question is, do we go AI native or AI first, or do we kind of go the old school first, where it's like no AI and train people up on that, and then introduce them to AI? We're kind of coming down on kind of a hybrid model where we're doing a bit of both, to be honest. But I do think the exciting part of that is I do think we are going to be able to train junior people much more quickly to get up to a certain level of proficiency, because they can just churn through a lot more projects more quickly. So where I think it's going to change, I think initially in the first few years of practice and how people enter the profession and become competent is going to change. And I think we're seeing the same thing in computer programming, where AI can actually generate code, maybe the equivalent of a junior programmer or someone with a little bit of experience, but not quite able to emulate what the very experienced programmers can do. But also, what is going to change, at least if we dive down into the our little world of IP and patent preparation. I think the speed at which you're going to be able to deliver specifications and office action responses to clients is probably going to and is increasing, and we'll touch on that a little more why. And I also think stuff that was not previously economically feasible suddenly does become feasible. If we're able to do more, and I think create more detailed specifications, better patent specifications. And so I think that's definitely changing as far as we're concerned. What's not changing is client relations. This is the meetings between the attorneys and the inventors and in-house counsel. Those are still crucial. AI can help those and make them better, but those are this is not something that we see that replacing. Strategic advice. And again, for patent applications, the drafting of the claims and the drawings, and that's really where a patent attorney's strategic thinking comes in, and we're able to bring in a lot more that the AI just doesn't know or is not good at. So I think that's the part that is not changing. So I hope that
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I honestly drive two more questions. One is, do you see the structure of patent IP law firms evolving in terms of org chart and competencies? And do you see the nature of your job to be done changing dramatically as well?
I think the structure, that's a very good question. But I do think we're not anticipating any, major structural changes at this point. I mean, I think our focus at the moment is getting our attorneys AI literate and AI trained. and processing that. Again, this is a debate I've had with another friend of mine who's an AI expert. Is like, well, are you going to need less people to do the same amount of work? And the answer to that is yes, potentially. But at the same time, if you look at the stats on the number of inventions being generated, we do anticipate an uptick in the number of filings. So that'll, so basically we'll be able to do more work with the same amount of people. And then I also mentioned AI is enabling us to do stuff that we couldn't do before.
Yeah.
So new service offerings and additional stuff. So I see what people are working on, potentially doing less of the routine, mundane stuff, and actually, quite frankly, having capacity to do more of the fun stuff, which to me, drafting patent applications is the claims and the drawings and the detailed description to a certain extent. But so we do see it evolving in that way.
Super interesting. Yeah, amazing. And so in terms of your clients, because I'm sure it's a big part of the equation. How do you see? What are the expectations and what are the concerns of your clients? And how do you address and manage this discussion with them to get them up to speed, understanding where it might impact and what additional value you might create for them?
Yeah, well, obviously our clients, the major concern is a lot of the issues that you addressed in your security side of things. I think security and compliance, the number one concern is any of our confidential information going to be used to train models that you're using? And, we have the solutions we're using are very carefully vetted to make sure that doesn't happen. Data security and confidentiality is crucial. So we've got very strict policy and vendor vetting guidelines around that. Also having US based, making sure nothing leaves the US. And then the other big concern we also see is what I broadly term AI inventorship. The concern there is AI going to be adding to the inventor, the inventive material over here. And we've carefully structured our prompts to reduce that, unless the attorney specifically asks for the AI to go somewhere. But most of the time, it's like really confining the use of AI to the documents that are in the context window, so that we're not kind of we're kind of avoiding that. So we're kind of addressing those sins with and a very clear set of use guidelines. We've got an internal use policy, and also very careful vetting of our vendors that we're working with in the software we're deploying.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, André, for the broader view on the space. If we jump a bit at SLW level, can you share a bit what are the key challenges that drove your decision to actually embrace AI as you do it today? And what are the most significant benefits you see you are already seeing today, transforming the way you operate and you deliver value to your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I'd basically say that I think the firm's embrace of AI has more been driven by an excitement at the opportunity rather than challenges per se. Not to say there aren't challenges, but I think in my 32 years of practice, this to me is the most exciting development we've encountered in the practice, and I think it's just tremendous what I think we're going to be able to do. So we're really excited about the new service offerings, and I think the improved services we can kind of offer. And I mentioned before, doing stuff that was not previously possible for practical or economic reasons. Some of the challenges, and I think this has been touched on in one of your previous webinars, is that the budgets for patent prosecution, and particularly what the large filers are paying, have been stagnant for a very long time. Law firms have been able to absorb some of those through increased automation and efficiencies, certainly. But I think it kind of almost got to a tipping point where we're also seeing increased demands on preparational patent applications and office action responses. Particularly subject matter eligibility. In the patent specification, we've got to go deep and have a lot of technical detail and to write patent applications that kind of are going to withstand the I'd say more stringent patentability requirements that are being applied by both the patent offices worldwide and courts worldwide. So we're kind of stuck between this stagnant budgets, which are effectively declining, but also having to do much more detailed and strategic and well thought out patent applications. So we're really seeing AI helping us for providing the law firms with a little bit of relief as to what is becoming quite frankly an untenable situation over there. I think one of your previous webinars also talked about just dropping the number of attorneys with less than 10 years experience into the profession, and I think that is a reflection of what law firms, patent prosecution can actually pay because of the stagnant budgets. So that is probably one of the challenges.
If you look at the benefits, what are the benefits you are already seeing today for you and for your clients?
Yeah, I think one of the ones I'm excited about internally is really this reduction in attorney burnout and fatigue. And I think we're kind of finding that attorneys can do the deep work and do more for longer. So I think can we go to the next slide? I think I had something over there, and I thought this might be a useful analogy and one that I've been using internally as well. If we look at the physical domain, and I have this, it might be a somewhat silly analogy, but it's really soldiers who are forced to carry not forced, but do carry a heavy load, on the battlefield, and that really results in a lot of physical fatigue. And there's a limit to the number of distance that a particular soldier can carry his or her load in a particular day. If we add, exoskeletons to that soldier and provide them with that, they have extended endurance and can really cover a greater distance in a particular day, even though they might be walking at the same pace. So not necessarily faster, but further. And I think that translates well to the kind of cognitive domain, because what we do as patent attorneys, it's actually, it's very, very tiring work. You're learning a new technology, thinking heavily about it, and the mental fatigue and strain we see on our attorneys, particularly having to write patent applications in the time frames that the budgets were dictating, was quite frankly exhausting. So I think with this AI assistant, we're actually seeing kind of an extended mental endurance that our attorneys can derive and can actually do deep work for longer. Sometimes going a little quicker, but sometimes going at the same pace. But as opposed to doing 4 to 6 hours of deep work a day, you now do 7 or 8. So we think that's a benefit, and people are excited about the job again, because it's you can really focus on the fun stuff, which is the claims and the client interaction and doing the drawings, and spend a little less time on the detailed description. So I think that's kind of translating into increased job satisfaction, and the team's excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's super thoughtful, and your comparison is extremely meaningful. I like it very much, and I think it puts the emphasis where it really changes the game. And this is what we see. There is a bit of absolute productivity. There is a lot of relief and comfort to do a better work and to actually do more in the same amount of time. And this in the end convert into better work for the clients.
I mean, I think your previous slide said some attorneys are reporting savings of up to 50% in drafting. I mean, to be honest, I think at this point we're not kind of seeing that amount of well, let me put it this way. On certain aspects of it, we are, like maybe the detailed description, are seeing a huge saving. But I think you also mentioned that's actually freeing up our attorneys to spend more time on the claims and the drawings and doing the other stuff. Yeah. So I think that's a that's a real benefit, I think, to the client and to our attorneys.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. We see our users reinvesting a bit of this time into the most interesting part of the drafting process and actually crafting better claims and better support with the description. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Thank you so much. Perhaps if we go a bit further down into the equipment process, can you share a bit what have been the key success factor for you and the key elements to ensure a proper adoption, because it's a significant change for an IP practice, and so can you share a bit the insights you collected while deploying different solutions, and notably DeepIP within your firm?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting buy-in, for adopting it among our attorneys was, to do some, we kind of first wave of announcements about it, then some demo meetings where we had people, really just demonstrating how to use it internally. We then found a kind of a small group of, can I say, enthusiasts, AI enthusiasts, who are excited about using the tool. And these often might be your computer savvy, attorneys who are doing software work, because I think there is a parallel there, and really had that small group of enthusiasts kind of evangelize and spread the word among the rest of the attorneys. We've also had a number of user meetings at various levels, like a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced, and have people share best practices and prompts and strategies at those meetings. And finally, what we've done is some one-on-one mentoring, where we've had people self-identify as a AI guru or an AI beginner, and we've kind of paired those people so that the mentor, if you will, could then work with the mentee on a particular project. And we found we've rolled that out now, and we're hearing some success stories, on that front.
Can you share a bit how fast has been the adoption, and what is I would say the penetration rate of such tools in the practice?
So I think there was very fast adoption by a relatively small group of people, but we're finding that as word spreads and as it goes, so it's being, we've had AI deployed for over a year now, and I think most of the attorneys at the firm have at least tried it out to a degree, but we've got a smaller group that are using it very, very heavily. So it is, as with any software tool, we find this every time we release a new software tool. They're the early adopters, and then the rest follow over a year to a 2-year period. But we're trying to accelerate. That, yeah. So that,
amazing.
Yeah.
And finally, so why working together, André? So I love working with you, obviously, but can you help us understand the way you build a thoughtful decision process to choose the right solution to actually address the very specific needs you wanted to address? And so, what are the key criteria for evaluating the right solution? And finally, perhaps why Kili, why DeepIP over the other solutions?
Yeah, no, sure. We developed a criteria checklist that we went through, and we have spoken to a number of vendors, and we were looking at a few things. Number one is usability. Number two, features, and like for features, we're looking at accuracy or absence of hallucination. And to that, we actually developed a standard set of test data. We kind of ran a number of tools through. The other kind of feature thing that we really were focused on is customization on both a client basis and an attorney basis. Different attorneys like to write patent applications different ways. Different clients have different requirements and want to see different things. So those, under the features, I think this accuracy and customization were key. Compliance and security was an important one. Also support. scalability, another criteria, and finally cost. So, I think why did we choose to add a DeepIP to the suite of AI tools that we're using? I think first of all on the security, you guys gave us a lot of assurances there. If you're good enough for the Department of Defense or SAP or IBM, that wasn't that's probably good enough for us. I think your experience pre this product, working with that, really gave us some confidence. The other feature we really liked was the usability, and their DeepIP's web interface, but also having the Word plugin was really a big factor, particularly for our attorneys who may not feel that comfortable with AI or new software tools. Having a Word plugin, we're very used to working in Word, and to be able to maintain that environment, but also have this tool on the side to help that was really really fantastic. And we just found the UI to be very intuitive and easily accessible. And I think on I mentioned the features. I think you guys checked those boxes as well. We liked what we saw on the quality coming out from your standard prompts that you're in the system without without too much prompting from our part, but also the ability for us to create different work agents to handle different tasks, and to create prompts and store those prompts, and even do prompt chains or chain of thought. And then very importantly, to be able to share those across the organization. So for example, we have attorneys who've created some very useful and helpful prompts, and they can then obviously save those, so they don't have to retype it in every time, but also just share that among a group of attorneys, so they can. So in that way, I think we've actually had attorneys create some prompts that are way better than it's been this kind of group effort to optimize these prompts. And that's really, I think, were some of the reasons we chose DeepIP. I think also just the support that you guys provided, and the responsiveness, and the rate at which we saw you iterating on the product to make it better, and the rate at which you continue to do that was really, I think, what.
I'm humbled, Andre.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I think security, integration within the workflow, UX that sticks to the way you used to work, the reliability, and the customizability are probably summarized of what you shared. Perhaps we can share the rest of the time to take questions, Thomas.
Yes, sure. So just, I think the best way for you to know if it will fit your workflow and the way you guys work is to maybe request your trial if you want. We'll be happy to onboard you and give you a quick tour of the tool, so you can test it out. So you can follow this link or click later if you're not interested now, and then we can move on to the questions. So I have listed some questions. So I don't know, FX or Andre. So Andre, the first question is addressed to you. So I'm putting the question on the screen.
Yeah, so I think that's from Marais. Hey, Marais, great question. Again, I kind of touched on the fact that the firms were experiencing a lot of budget pressure, and as I think this is, we see it as the next evolution of tools which allow us to to continue to do good jobs, at least within current budget constraints. But again, I would emphasize that I think it's our messaging to our clients really is that this is enabling us to do more, and deliver better service and better quality applications. We're not seeing, having worked with it on a number of patent applications with a number of clients using AI, we're not seeing a massive reduction in the amount of time and being able to massively reduce budgets from where they currently are. That might change in the future as AI improves and our attorneys get more proficient with it. But I think the thing to bear in mind is that also if you work with AI, it's really like having a junior associate, I think, that can bounce ideas off you and you can have a discussion. I think the CEO of Anthropic really talked about artificial general intelligence as being this kind of country of geniuses with which you can have a conversation. And I think that's what we're finding our attorneys. They are able to, number one, prepare for inventor meetings a lot better. And ask, more pertinent questions. Spend less time asking inventors questions that may just be gaps in the attorney's knowledge. So our attorneys can spend a bit more time preparing for the disclosure meeting, take less time with the inventors, and I think walk away with a better body of disclosure materials by using AI. But then as they're iterating, we're also, you're really having a kind of a conversation with the AI, and the AI is throwing up certain stuff and you're investigating different areas. All of that to say that at the end of the day, for drafting an application, we think we can do a better job and give our clients a much better experience, and also secure the patent applications for this increased scrutiny that I mentioned earlier on. So I think in the short term we're not seeing any major opportunities to reduce budgets, but just to do a much better job and I think deliver a better service.
Thank you, Andre. Very interesting question indeed. So we have another question. I think it would be for you, Andre, as well. Brian said, have you used AI for client communications, drafting reporting letters?
We have, and we do, and our firm already has a somewhat, even pre-AI, we were very automated in reporting things out and sending letters out very quickly. But we're finding our attorneys and for our clients who do need a little more than our standard reporting letter, we've developed prompts to basically take a certain amount of input and really output these very customized reporting letters. And I think we actually have a whole library of kind of prompts available for different letters we can send to the attorneys. So there could be the letter to set up the disclosure meeting, and we can pull in information from our databases and kind of create this customized email that here, attorney, you can send this email to the inventors, and then also an invention disclosure follow-up email, and the content for an email of here's the first draft of the application for your review, and each of these can be kind of customized on a case-by-case basis. So Brian, great question, and I think there is tremendous opportunity for that, and we've actually deployed some of that within the firm already.
Thank you, Andre. Okay, maybe a question for FX. So is there any focus on building features and making this available for inventors?
Yes. So there is definitely a roadmap to build features dedicated to support corporates and inventors in their capability to leverage AI to do a lot of things. And one was mentioned by Andre. So typically, claim charting is a critical component of facilitating the capability to compare a product, a set of claims with a bunch of patents. So these are typically some things we are working on, and that will bring value for both, I think, IP attorneys, but corporates and inventors as well.
Tamar, I see there's one question I wouldn't mind answering from the thread.
Sure.
So I think that's basically, how do you disclose to clients a certain work in his AI assisted and transparency? I think over there, number one, we've updated our engagement letter to advise clients that we are using AI, but we do have. I'd say the majority of our clients have actually reached out to us and are actively encouraging us to deploy AI for the reasons that I've talked about. We have a few clients whose internal security, in particular with respect to legal, are kind of constraining them on what they can have their vendors and law firms do. So for certain clients, we don't use AI. But I'd say the majority of our clients are actively encouraging us to use it, and we're actually having discussions with our clients around this, and showcasing what we've done and how we are able to do a better job for them. So I just wanted to answer that question.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. So I think we are out of time, unfortunately, and everyone has a very tight schedule, I believe. So we will take the time to answer maybe the rest of the question by email and do a recap article so you can benefit from the key learnings from Andre. Andre, thank you so much for your time. It was a very insightful conversation with FX. We hope to do more stuff together in the future.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the opportunity. Always happy to chat to FX, and Thomas, thanks for moderating and giving us.
Thank you so much for your time, Andre. Thank you all for joining the webinar, and hopefully take some time to test these tools. And we are welcome. You are very much welcome to test DeepIP when the time is right for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.